Hi, I'm Nancy Clark.
And I'm Emery Wallace-Phillips.
We're the Hospice and Bereavement Coordinators with Theo in Oxford, and this is Morning Chats with Anne-Marie and Nancy. Look.
Today we'd like to dive into a little bit about a child's understanding of death. Their understanding of death depends on many factors of a child. Previous death experience, cognitive ability, age, ability to reason, and sense of self are just one of the many things that will affect a child's understanding of death.
And we're going to talk about just some general points to consider when thinking about a child's understanding of death. And that first point is going to be the concept of death. So the concept of forever is very hard for a child to understand, especially the younger they get, the more complicated that is to understand. So permanence of death is, again, very hard to comprehend, and children may think that death is temporary, they may think it's reversible. It's definitely a developmental concept. So the younger they are, the less real death is. As they move into the ages of 5 to 9, they generally do have a more thorough understanding that death is permanent, and definitely as they move into age 9 and beyond.
Another understanding of children is the concept of magical thinking. So magical thinking is actually a developmental stage of a child where young children may believe they have caused the illness or death, or that they can think away the illness with a wish. So just be very mindful about this magical thinking, and once again, reassure the child that this is not their fault, and that they didn't cause it. And usually children outgrow, I'm going to say for lack of better terms, this concept about age 9 to 12.
And another point to consider is the language that you're using when talking about death. So abstract words and concepts can be very difficult. So dying and dead, those actual words need to be stated, but they also need to be explained when they're used. That's a really hard thing for people in our society to embrace. Saying those words can be very difficult. So it might be easier to say that we lost grandma, or that daddy's gone to sleep, or that the dog's been shipped off to another farm to live forever and in the meadows. But using those the proper language, using the words death and dying and explaining them is crucially important.
Absolutely. I go back to what Nancy's saying, we lost grandma. Well, many children, as we know, if you lose something, we can find grandma. So they could go and try and find grandma. And especially the concept, if you explain, grandma just went to sleep, that could create huge terror for children to go to sleep. So it's very important to use the words death or died. Another understanding of children's death, their death data bank fills up with the development of intelligence and lived experience. As they get older, children move towards a more realistic understanding, and they are going to be better able to grasp that death is permanent and that all living things die. Even if you haven't experienced the death of a loved one, there's something called teachable moments. So if you have a child who hasn't experienced the death of a loved one, and say you walk across a dead animal by any chance, or even a dead bug, use those teachable moments to explain the concept of death to a child.
Absolutely. And another concept to keep in mind is that children are often egocentric. And I say that in the most loving of terms because it is so endearing that they find it hard to look, or they're not developmentally capable of looking beyond their own feelings and how they're affected and how events affect their own life. So again, time is necessary as children grow developmentally, and also taking advantage, as Anne-Marie stated, about those teachable moments and those teaching experiences will help children develop empathy and a capacity to understand how death affects us and how it will continuously affect us.
The next sort of understanding we want to talk about, children learn by repetition, repeated questions. These repeated questions may be very difficult for their caregiver to answer, especially if the caregiver themselves is grieving. We know that grief is exhausting, and also, looking after a child and keeping up with daily tasks are exhausting. And to add on top of that, a child's constant and repetitive questions can be overwhelming. By asking these questions over and over again, they are testing their reality, and children want answers, and they want to double and triple their understanding, and they're checking for the answers and the answers that are the same. By having clear and honest responses and the same responses, this will help the child understand the finality of the death. And please use patience with the child. And this repeated questioning is part of a child searching for meaning, and it's part of their grief work.
Right. And the last concept that we hope to impart on you today when dealing with a grieving child and understanding a grieving child is that grief works. Grief work is cyclical. As we know, grief is not linear. It is cyclical, and it will come back around for that child as they age and through their life. As they reach new developmental stages, they reintegrate this death into their life. And as life events happen and they acquire new skills and knowledge, the reality of their loss will come back around. So for example, a child that loses their mother as an infant, they will absorb this death throughout every milestone they reach in their life, through first days of school, marriages, having children of their own. It does come back around, and they will regreet this over time. And especially as they age and learn to articulate what their feelings are, they will definitely regrieve.
Absolutely.
So for more information about our Children in Grief series, connect with our YouTube channel and subscribe. We have some more great videos on the way and some previous videos in December and November as well. And for more information, feel free to contact us by phone or email. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.